So you're thinking about moving out of state, and maybe you're thinking that your destination is Denver. Well, if so, today is a great day for you to check out this video because I'm going to go over the 6 steps of what it takes to move out of state in an efficient manner. We're going to get into that right now. Maybe you have moved out of state before, or maybe this is your first time moving out of state. If this is your first time, I think you'll find a lot of great value in this video. We've helped a ton of people move both from in-state and out of state. And we get calls from people like yourselves all the time. We love receiving those calls, and we would love to be your resource here in Denver to make sure that you have a smooth move here to the Denver metro area. You may be wondering right now, where do I start? It seems a little bit overwhelming. Well, the first place to start is the research phase. And there's a couple key components in this research phase that we're going to talk about. But the first one, I think, that is maybe most important is, do you need to sell your house at your current location before you can buy here in Denver? So how do you find out whether you need to sell your house before you purchase this next house? Well, that's a big part of this research phase as well. And what we would always recommend that you do is get connected with a local lender here in Colorado. What they can do is help you to look at your financial situation, look at your debts and your incomes, and calculate what's known as the DTI, or debt to income ratio. That's the ratio that needs to fall usually under 55 or 50% of your debt compared to your income. And what that would do for you is allow you to qualify potentially for 2 homes if your debt to income ratio is lower than that threshold that I just discussed. Over the last 15 years, I've developed a lot of great referral networks and connections with other lenders here locally. These are people that are worth their weight in gold in regards to this phase of the process when you're planning and trying to figure out what makes the most sense for you. In fact, we even have another lender who can offer a program which essentially allows you to erase the debt on your current house, and that would not be taken into account on your debt to income ratio. It's a very unique program, and that would allow a lot of people to go ahead and buy their replacement home here in Denver before you have to sell your other home, which makes the logistics of the move much easier at times. So there's a lot of different ways that we can be successful in your planning of your research phase of your home loan. Maybe it makes sense to try to work with the lender that we had mentioned to try to erase the debt that you have on your current home, and therefore you're able to purchase and then sell. Or maybe it makes more sense to go ahead and sell your house and purchase out here contingent upon the sale of that house. We've helped lots of clients do both of those things, and feel free to give us a call. We'd be happy to talk to you about your situation, and we can give you some information that will help point you in the right direction. And I mentioned that getting a local Colorado lender is usually the best way to go for most of our clients. The reason being is because there's a lot of options out there to get a loan through. You could easily go onto LendingTree. I'm not suggesting that you do that unless you want to be blown up by, say 10 to 20 lenders in a short amount of time. Companies like that and some of the big box companies and banks, they usually have a little bit less tenure of their positions at the bank, and so you see a lot of turnover at those places. My advice is always that this is a relationship business, and you're going to want a relationship with somebody that you know and trust and have good communication with, and usually you want that to stay consistent all the way through the process. So my preference, and the preference of most of my clients, is not to go to a big bank, not to go onto LendingTree, but to contact us or to get a referral from somebody they know and trust already here in the Denver area, so that you partner with the right person to make things efficient and easy. So we're still in step 1 of the research phase here, but by now you've already connected with a local lender. You've got your financial plan in place, regardless of whether you're going to do a contingent purchase or a non-contingent purchase. Well, now it's like, let's check out some neighborhoods. If you haven't spent a lot of time here in Denver, it probably makes a lot of sense to go right here onto our YouTube channel, and you can search for different features of different neighborhoods and communities that we've already done. Maybe you want to be on the west side of town and you're looking at Littleton or Lakewood. We've done features on both of those. Or maybe you want to be in Denver proper to the east of I-25. We've done some features on some neighborhoods in Denver as well. This is a great time for you to really be efficient with the time that you have as you get ready for this move, and to be able to narrow down some of the areas that you want to focus on when you come here. And then that way you can use this time while you're here to dig deeper on some of these neighborhoods of interest, rather than just driving around a bunch of neighborhoods that you could have otherwise vetted up front. Maybe by now you've found some neighborhoods or communities that you're interested in. The next step that I would suggest is starting to drill down into some of the details that are most important to you about where you live. A lot of people start with schools in this kind of thought. And with that, we have some of the best schools all across the nation. Here in the Denver metro area, we have some excellent school systems as well. Jefferson County, Cherry Creek School District, Douglas County School District, those are all typically school districts that are known and have good reputation for scores and testing and kids' experience, of course. But there's a lot of websites out there for you to do research on. You can also call into these schools and talk to some of the administrators or the teachers and ask some questions that are pertinent to your child and what their needs are. And of course, you probably want to know about some things that you care about or things that are, within your lifestyle. So a lot of times people consider recreation and access to parks and trails and hiking and biking, those kinds of things. Other people want to be closer to public transportation. We've got a great light rail system that runs through the city, so we can tell you more about that if that's something of interest. And then other people want to have like a more walkable neighborhood where they can walk to restaurants and bars, they can meet up with friends, have a social life, that kind of thing. So this is a time for you to drill down deeper into some of these communities, and feel free to ask us questions as well. We'd be happy to share. Another key component in this research phase is for you to start to research and interview different companies that might be able to help you with your move. Depending on whether you want to do your move on your own and hire a U-Haul truck and drive yourself, or whether you want kind of like white glove service from a national brand who goes ahead and they pack all of your stuff, they label it all, they load it in the truck, they drive the truck, they unload it, and sometimes they even unpack it for you depending on the service that you choose. So these companies typically book out quite a bit in advance. So, this research phase is generally say like 2 to 3 months before you're planning on moving. You probably want to go ahead and find out who you're going to hire, make sure you're comfortable with their quote, and then get on their calendar so that you have that spot secured. So we're talking a lot about budgeting. We're talking about house budget and moving truck budget. Well, another budget you might want to consider is kind of assessing the cost of living here in Denver compared to where you lived previously. Many of you that are moving here from the coasts, whether it's East Coast or West Coast, you'll see that the cost of living here in Denver is a lot more affordable when you look at like groceries and things like that. And then other places, if you're moving here from the Midwest, you'll notice probably an increase in your cost of groceries and those types of things. A big thing that's different from probably where you live right now is that Colorado has one of the lowest property tax rates in the nation. So if you're moving from somewhere like Chicago, where your property tax is one of the highest, you're going to see a lot of savings by moving here to Colorado. So everything is relative, and it's worthwhile to do a little research on what is the cost of living and what things are changing and what things are staying the same per what I'm used to. Next, probably time to plan a visit out here. And just so you know, we have a team of agents here in Denver that is ready to serve you. So regardless of whether one of us is on an appointment or I'm out of town, whatever it might be, someone at the Roots Home Sales team will be available for you to, meet with you, show you houses, answer your questions, connect you with local vendors, and just continue to help you along your process. So feel free to give us a call or shoot us a text or an email anytime. Just we want to be here as your local resource. And it'd be great for us to communicate up front, of course, so that you can kind of set up your itinerary for your visit here. A lot of our clients, they don't want to come out and look at houses for all 3 or 4 days that they're here. It's a little bit overwhelming. They'll typically come out, try to drive some neighborhoods initially that they had already researched on our channel, and start to get a feel for it, on the ground, in the car, driving around, sometimes walking around some of these neighborhoods. We also want to set some time for us to get with you and turn some doors, open some doors, and view some specific homes in those neighborhoods as well. So let's communicate upfront about what your availability is, and then we'll set some tour dates and times for us to go and look at some places and make sure that we're very efficient with the time that you have available while you're visiting Denver. And if you're transferring within your same company to Denver, then a good thing to do up front is to talk with your employer and work on getting a letter from that employer that's verifying your employment with the company. That way you have that for use with your loan and you're ready to go to get your loan pre-approved. Also, while you're here visiting, you may want to consider looking at some storage places for you to be able to store your things in if you need to do so on an interim basis. This is going to be dependent on our strategy that we've talked about before in regards to, like, do you need to sell your house before you buy this house? And are we able to line up the dates and deadlines so that you're able to sell that house and then close on this house and move in soon thereafter? We've been able to line up those dates for many people so that they don't have to find temporary housing and they don't have to find a storage unit. But if the plan includes you having to store some of your belongings for a short period of time, this is the time to check out those local storage units and secure a place. So now we're going to move to step 2 in this whole process, which is the planning phase. So we've done research and now we're planning. And when we're planning, we're going to get into more of the specifics about, the logistics of dates and deadlines on when you want to sell your house, when you want to move, and when you want to purchase and move into your new home. Something that's important to know is that typically it's going to take about 30 days between the time that you go under contract on a home and the time that you close on that home. This is a very important time for you to have a great relationship with a local real estate agent that's helping you to sell your home, because we're going to want to work hand in hand with them to make sure that we're in good communication about that sale and where it's at in the process. And then that way we can, reverse engineer your purchasing process based on that sale process. And if you don't have a great agent there in your hometown, please let us know. We've got an extensive network of agents all across the country who we've worked with in the past, and we would really love to connect you with the right person for your job. Another thing to remember during this process is truly everything is negotiable. Our contracts, there's a lot of flexibility in them. I've closed some contracts in 20 days. I've closed some in 30. I've closed some in 45, and sometimes even in 60. It's all very dependent on the individual circumstance that you have and the plan that makes the most sense for you. But just know that there's a lot of flexibility in these dates and deadlines, and oftentimes we can negotiate to get the dates and deadlines to be most applicable to you and serve you and your family the very most. All right, so now we're on to step 3, which is the preparation phase. At this point in time, typically you're already under contract on your sale and your purchase, most likely, and you're probably through inspection as well. So you have some fairly good certainty that this deal is going to go through when your loan gets approved. So now it's time to start to prepare to move. You need to start decluttering your house. If you've chosen to hire somebody to pack stuff up, they'll do that for you. But if you're packing your own stuff, probably better start on that. The other thing too is like prioritizing, do I want to bring all of these things across the country to my new house? Will all of these things fit in my new house? Will they look good in my new house? Ladies, you know what I'm talking about there. And with that, maybe it makes more sense to go ahead and sell some of those things before you pay money to drag them all across the country. All of those kind of things are worthwhile considerations in this phase. You're also going to want to consider researching some local banks in the place that you're moving to here in Denver, starting to open some of those accounts up and starting to transition some of those items that are attached to your current address. Another thing that I always do when I'm traveling or moving, and something I've always recommend my clients do, is pack a suitcase with all of your necessities for 7 days. Keep that separate from all the other stuff that's being packed. Keep it with you. You never want to be at your new house, moved in, but all of your stuff is on a truck and you've got only the clothes on your back and you have no toiletries, all of those kinds of things. So in order to make sure you're comfortable and you're not sitting in an empty house waiting for your truck, pack a bag for 7 days to keep yourself self-sufficient and taken care of during that interim period. The other thing that many people forget to do is forward your mail. I know you might not like the things that you get in your mail, but either way, it's still important to make sure that you keep those bills paid. Make sure that you forward your mail. Now we're on to section 4, which is the administration phase. This is the phase where you're literally kind of taking care of a lot of admin duties that need to be done prior to you being able to move in. A lot of times what this is just scheduling things to happen once you are closed on the house. So a lot of my clients like to schedule the locks to be changed on the house right after they get done with the closing. So they've got a locksmith set to meet them the next morning there at the house. Also, if you're getting new furniture to this new house, you're setting up your furniture deliveries that day. You're setting up the person to come and connect your internet that day, because nobody wants to be at their new house with no internet connectivity, trying to get their life started again. And section 5, this is the cleanup phase. So what you're going to want to do is make sure you have a professional cleaner, or yourselves if you're brave, scheduled to do a move out clean at your house that you're selling, so that when that new buyer goes into their new house that they just spent a bunch of money on, they feel really good and warm and fuzzy that it's been cleaned and they can move in without having to do that deep clean. On the other side of things, we're going to make sure your new house out here in Denver is cleaned as well, so that you can move in and feel warm and fuzzy about your new purchase. And it's not just the cleaning that needs to happen. Make sure that you go through your old house. Open up every single cabinet. Look on top of surfaces that you haven't looked at for a long time. Open up all the drawers in your garage, all of those kinds of things. Make sure that all of your stuff is out of the house and you haven't forgotten anything. All right, step number 6. This is the most fun step. This is the day that you get to go and close on your new home. Typically what that includes is, we'll meet up the day of closing or the night before, depending on the time of day that it is closing. And we'll do a final walkthrough of your new home. We'll be doing that same sweep kind of technique that I told you to do at your place, making sure that nothing was left in the house that was not supposed to be left by the previous owners, making sure the house is nice and clean for you to be able to move in, and then making sure that any inspection items that were agreed upon in the contract have been completed, and we have the receipts for those. Once that's done, then you are going to move into your new house. Congratulations, it's closing day. You just signed, you've got your keys. Now you get to go and turn that lock for the first time as the new homeowner. Welcome to Denver. Congratulations, we're glad you're here. I hope this video was informative for you and that it gave you some helpful tips and tricks on how to make this transition of your life much more easy. As always, we love getting calls and emails and texts from people just like you moving here to Denver, Colorado. We are Colorado natives. We love our state, and we'd love to tell you more about it and be your resource to make a smooth move here to Colorado. So if it's your first time to the channel, make sure that you click on that subscribe button and the bell so that you're notified when we bring up new videos of places in Colorado that might fit you.